Dreamweavers! Welcome back to my channel, Dreamfeather Tarot. Today we have a pick-a-card reading, messages from the other world, messages from Spirit about self-love messages, and there's so many love readings here on this platform. And I noticed that sometimes we can spin into these crazy vortex spirals in those love readings, and it can sometimes throw us for a loop. And I found in my own love journey that the most important foundation in love is the way in which we regard ourselves. How is our self-concept pushing out those experiences of love? And so this is going to focus more on you, my dears, which is, I think, what's really important in any love situation is how am I filling my own cup. So we have 3 piles from which you may choose from here, my dearies. And let me show you the piles. We have pile number 1 with the blue fairy, with the, I think this is called the Housewives Tarot. And this deck has been speaking to me. She wanted to make an appearance. It's like a vintage deck. Then pile number 2, we have the Thunderbird Beaded Mala. Okay, with the Paulina Tarot. Very whimsical, circus, fairy-like deck. And lastly, pile number 3, we have the, I believe this is a Dodecaherdrom. It may be, that's like a 12-pointed star. It may be a 10-pointed star. I'm not too sure right now, honestly. Crystal, quartz, star. It's pretty much like a 3-dimensional Metatron's cube. With the Robin Wood Tarot. And this is a very earthy, nature-based Celtic deck. So, tune into your intuition. Take a deep breath and see where your energy is most drawn to. Whichever deck or symbol you're most drawn to has a message for you. If you are called to several decks, you're welcome to watch more than one. And remember that this is a general collective reading, so take what applies to your situation and leave the rest to avoid any confusion. And make your selection now. And we'll start with my dear pile number 1. Okay, pile 1. Let's see, what messages does Spirit, the Most High, the Great Mystery have for you in terms of self-love to assist you on your highest path of evolution in that vibrational frequency of unconditional love where all things transform for the better. Great Spirit, what do you have for the collective for pile number 1? Who may see this video, remember this reading is timeless. No matter what time you see it, it is for you. I'm filming this in December 2023. Great Spirit, what does pile number 1 need to know? Please show us clearly. What does pile number 1 need to know at this time for their highest path of evolution? Great Spirit, show us. Thank you. Let's start here. Okay. And you know, this Page of Swords, I don't always take reversals. Today I'm going to. It kind of showed up like that, so it was a little more on the reverse side, but I think the imagery of the card kind of, you know, I feel like whether tarot readers read reversals or not, the positive and not so positive qualities will always speak through the cards, I find. So we have this Page of Swords here, and he's running with scissors, and this imagery is pretty self-explanatory. It's a way in which someone is using their thoughts that may be hurtful to them in the long run or the short run even. I notice handprints, like his hands are dirty and he has handprints on the wall, and then he's there running with the scissors. So it's the need to make sure that you're using your thoughts in constructive ways. The dirty handprints make me think of those impure thoughts that can leave those residual energies which may come off as harmful to self or others. And anything that is harmful that we put out to others will be toxic and harmful for ourselves, and vice versa. Let me see, what else am I seeing here? And, you know, it's kind of like also the Page of Swords. Traditionally, it's like a card of spying and a card of like a little bit of superficiality with the mental faculties. So kind of like speaking before one thinks, running with scissors before one takes into account like what may happen of that. And I think that because of this way of thinking, you're kind of putting yourself in a way in a position of harm. In a position of harm. And I see there's a lot going on. There's a lot of things happening in your 3D sphere with the Two of Pentacles. You may have like family life to deal with, little furry children, and keeping up with the house and the job, and it's kind of like this sense of maybe the need to ground here. And notice like where you can delegate some of these tasks. I find that writing lists can be very helpful. Writing down a list the night before really is where our day begins. So writing a list of what needs to be done. And then maybe crossing some things off and asking Spirit, the universe, to help you with certain things that you can delegate in a way. And this is a technique by Abraham Hicks. I believe in her book, which book is it? It's either in Ask and It Is Given or The Vortex. And they talk about like these techniques for manifestation, and one of them is writing down all the to-do list and then picking specific ones that you deem can be done by the universe, and like magic, those things end up being fulfilled without you needing to lift a finger. So that can be helpful with just, you know, coming to a more grounded place in your external so that your internal can follow suit. You know, the Page of Swords, it's the most least developed archetype of the different suits. This one is the mental body, and So it's kind of the need to transform, evolve, and alchemize a way in which you're viewing your current circumstances. And do remember, your current circumstances are old news. Your current circumstances are based on our past thoughts, our past programming, what we've been subconsciously, unconsciously affirming, because our subconscious mind projects out 95% of our reality. And until we become aware and really deep dive within about why certain things in our physical are happening now, then it'll continue to appear as if maybe we're a victim to our circumstances. We are never a victim, because we are a God source energy dreaming itself in this dream of life. And whenever it feels like we're a victim, it's really just the need to shift the way in which we're viewing things to feel in a more empowered energy. Because we can create heaven or hell within our earthly timeline based on the vantage point of our thoughts. So this card is urging you to flip your perspective, as it were, and cut out. Those scissors make me think of cutting out the clutter. Cut out those toxic people, those toxic situations that leave you feeling drained, leave you feeling siphoned of your energy, who aren't giving back, and who are more of that immature energy. This could also indicate someone in your field who is acting in this way. And I see that possibly if there is someone who is acting a little more immature or unwise or unjust in their communication, it's leaving you feeling empty. And notice how this Ace of Cups actually doesn't have any water in it, and it even came out reversed. So it's almost like this sense of burnout. And like the want to turn over a new leaf emotionally, but maybe not feeling like you have the means at this point. This Ten of Cups reversed too, as well as like, you know, maybe like longing for that perfect relationship, and even using spirits or alcohol or some sort of substances in which to numb out or dissociate maybe from some pain of not feeling like your cup is full, but recalling that you do have all the power. You see how she is floating those pentacles there? You do have the power there, but it's about shifting the focus in a way that can nurture both you and those around you. And really giving yourself that time for self-care, even just like, you know, an hour or 30 minutes to ourselves. Say, for example, going to a yoga class and doing some asana posture practice or breath work can have such a healing effect. And we leave that class feeling so rejuvenated, so resourced, to where when we come back home, when we come back into the everyday of our life, like we feel just like our cup is full, and thus we're able to meet people so much more compassionately. We're able to really allow ourselves the grace of knowing that that time to ourselves is really non-negotiable. Even if it's just 10-minute meditation in the morning, 10 minutes before bed, the two best times to practice that meditative awareness, and even subconscious reprogramming. Even Yogananda, the author of Autobiography of a Yogi, which is one of the most classic yogic texts, talks about communing with God in the morning and in the evening, right before bed and right upon waking, where our subconscious mind, the gates to those deeper faculties of the mind are most open, so that we can really start to deep dive and really change our mind from the inside out, so that our experiences pushed out can be those preferable experiences. Now I see strength, so there could be this feelings of frustration, these feelings of maybe even pride or envy, or let's see, the Strength card, traditionally, you know, it's like wrangling that beast within, that aspect of self that represents the ego, which is simply just the illusory self that wants to, you know, seem bigger than life, or is constantly never satiated, and thus is always reaching for something outside of oneself to feel whole and complete. So this is the need to go within and give that to yourself first, because remember, life is just a hologram. Life is just a dream. It's just a mirror of everything that's happening internally. And until we give ourselves that validation, that love, that care that we so long for outside of ourselves, until we give that for ourselves, we're going to keep attracting those people who are just going to dirty our life, dirty our mind, those toxic energies which really aren't adding value. And I see that you do add value. You're like superwoman here, trying to do everything. Superman, super them, any gender. I don't read for genders, I'm just reading the energies. So anytime I say male, female, I'm reading the archetypes of the cards and the imagery, and just know that you can interchange that. And of course, all beings are welcome here, all gender non-conforming people as well. So, you know, it's like with this strength, it's the need to draw upon that wellspring of well-being that is always there within you to pull from and to draw from. And the Strength card, you know, it is about making peace and making friends, really, with those aspects of self that are harder to look at. You know, like the skeletons in the closet, really just going there, especially if something in the physical has triggered that. Really sitting with that pain, because if we suppress it, what we run from ends up running us. And so just going down deep within, being there with that part, seeing it, hearing it, feeling it. Because the moment we do that, we allow that thread to release from our cellular memory. And maybe this thread is connected to a whole nother web that was, you know, an imprint from very early on. Because our first 7 to 11 years of age are conditioned upon us, and we end up acting out those wounds later in life, especially in our intimate partnerships, because those first early formative years are the ways in which we learned how to be in the world with our foremost authority figures, mother, father, and then we project those onto current day romantic partners, and the ways in which we, you know, practice self-love for ourselves, for our family, friends, community, partners, etc. So, you know, the strength is about being with that scared, wild, maybe even lost inner child, even inner teenager. This one's a little mischievous. He's maybe like on the precipice there of child, teenager. So, you know, let's see. There's a lot of gold here. This has to do with the solar plexus, Manipura chakra, which is how we give and receive energy, our sense of like willpower, our sense of value, our sense of esteem, self-esteem, our sense of confidence. The need to root here. Remember we were talking about putting both feet on the earth, going barefoot for 6 or more minutes a day, going out and walking in those early morning hours when the subtle energy of the universe is fresh and alive, and to where we can let in that chi, let in that prana life force into our mind-body field, and just feel so much more just filled up by the universe, not needing anything outside of ourselves, not longing or asking for anything outside of ourselves, but really just being there. And really, like, I'm noticing this woman on this scrubbing pads. So this is the need for purification with the Strength card. Yoga is a great way for that. Breath work is amazing. Maybe you want to try Kung Fu or Shaolin arts, or, you know, going out into nature, communing with any of the elements, whether it's a fire, a body of water, the rocks, the mountains, the trees. The winds can be so cleansing. But I notice her there in the middle. She's looking at a mirror. So this is about taking a good, deep, long reflection, maybe even doing some mirror work. And, you know, I notice when there's self-loathing within oneself, there can be a tendency either to hyperfixate on the mirror and just want to nitpick about our looks and never really feeling good enough, and I'm constantly wanting to modify our external. But the issue there is a self-worth issue. The outer is never going to mediate that or like soothe that part of oneself. Or there can be a tendency to avoid mirrors and to have this such self-deprecation and low self-worth that we don't even want to meet ourselves in the eye. So both of those are like, you know, self-worth. It's either an inflation, which leads to arrogance, which the Strength card in reverse can represent, or it's a deflation, which is self-deprecation. And neither of those are a solid, secure sense of self-worth. So to me, with the mirror, it's saying do some mirror work first thing in the morning. Before or after your meditation, go into the mirror and tell yourself loving affirmations. Louise Hay has a lot of really beautiful, just solid affirmations you can do before sleep, while you're sleeping, or you can play those while you look in the mirror and learn some loving affirmations to speak to yourself. So it's transforming that inner critic into that inner Girl Scout leader, inner Boy Scout leader, inner leader, inner Scout leader who really, like, you know, has those positive affirming ways of like guiding you without belittling yourself or critiquing yourself too harmfully. And then I also notice an anchor here on her apron. So again, that message of really anchoring down. You see one of her feet are lifted. Let's keep both feet on the ground. All your toes forward. Focusing on that direction of self-love. And sometimes you have to faith it. I don't say fake it, but faith. F-A-I-T-H. Faith it till you make it. And you'll find that it just becomes more and more natural to treat yourself as the beautiful, divine being of love that you are. Because we are just that God source energy dreaming itself. And sometimes in childhood we have taken to heart, you know, these ways of thinking ourselves based on our parents or caretakers who were wounded and had trauma themselves, and all those generational traumas just get passed down, and then we start to think something's wrong with us. There's nothing wrong with you. Even all your light and all your shadow is divine. There's nothing here on the earth that isn't God essence. Fear and darkness is just a phantom of the mind, and darkness isn't bad. Really, the darkness and going to those wounds is where you're going to pull the most treasure, because it's in the problem that lies the solution. It's in those hurt and wounded parts that are your greatest treasure, because it's our most disempowered parts. But once we reap the lesson from that, they'll never disempower us in that same way, and we can evolve that energy to its highest octave, from the shadow to the siddhi. And what's coming to mind right now is the Gene Keys. If you've never heard of this book, the Gene Keys is this, you like, based on your birthday, it conjures up this chart, and it's all about, you know, it's all about transforming shadows into its highest octave, into its gift, into the love, into the pure essence that frequency holds. And really so much of shadow work is just the awareness around, you know, the ways in which we can grow. So I hope that was helpful, dear pile number one. I'm making these readings a little bit on the shorter side this time. Let me pull one more card from you from my Whispers of Love deck. And we'll see, what else does pile number one need to know? Please pray Spirit, show us clearly for their highest and greatest good and evolution and self-love. Okay, we have receive with love and appreciation. So yeah, I really feel this a lot. And then at the bottom of the deck it says be willing to express love as well. This is about giving and receiving. Wow. And it makes so much sense because, you know, in order to receive, we have to give. And sometimes we can forget that and ask, where's the love? Like, where did all the love go in my life? But then we realize maybe we haven't been acting in a loving energy. And sometimes that can be a hard pill to swallow. I've been there myself, believe me. But the more that we can just little by little, you know, start to give more, just for those, even to just those people we really trust in our lives, you know, our closer family, friendships, even if it's just donating a bag of clothes that you're not using anymore. Because I know there's all sorts of different people in this life, and not everyone has friends. Not everyone has family they can count on, you know? So I want to include all of you here. All of you are welcome here. But, you know, it's just about how can I give, whether it's to like a clerk at the grocery store, like how can I just brighten their day and add value in some way. And it's the karmic law. Whatever we give out is going to come back. And sometimes if we've been in a loveless state for a long time, whether it's from a heartbreak, a hurdle or whatever, then we can forget and sometimes block ourselves off from love. And then we're not giving or receiving it. So this is about bringing and creating those clear pathways to the love that you are, the love that you have been, and the love that you always will be. And I love too how there's a male and female on both of these cards. Receive with love and appreciation. Gracious acceptance is a way to show love. There's birds there. That to me feels like letting go of all those mental thoughts that just are not serving you. You don't have to hold on to them. Just think of them like clouds passing on a blue sky. And then here she is gazing at the seashell. Maybe doing a bathtub ritual could be beneficial at this time. So, dear pile number 1, I really am intending that this reading you found some snippets of wisdom within, and I'm wishing you so much joy and appreciation and gratitude on your journey. And remember, recall that sometimes if it's hard to invoke the love, gratitude is one of the closest frequencies to love. So even if you don't feel love right now, you can find something to be grateful for, even if it's just the breath in your lungs. So with that, my dear pile number 1, I'm wishing you all the heart sparkles within your earthly journey. If you found this video useful in any way, I would appreciate if you could support my channel and this reading by hitting the like button and subscribing if you'd like further tarot readings and metaphysical videos. Pile number 2. It's your turn, pile number 2. We have the Beaded Thunderbird. And today, pile number 2, we are asking Spirit messages, guidance to assist you on your earthly and metaphysical journey in the realms of love, of self-love, which is that foundation that creates everything outside of ourselves. Do recall, pile number 2, that this was a timeless reading. Whenever you find it, the messages may or may not resonate. It is a collective reading. I intend that everyone who comes across this video gets exactly what they need. So pile number 2, Great Spirit, I am channeling for the collective of pile number 2. Please show us clearly what pile number 2 needs to know at this time for their highest path of love, their highest path of evolution, to experience the love that they are within and without in all realms and all dimensions. I love love. Okay. Let's see here. Pile number 2. So. Yeah, I just got that phrase, I love love, when the 2 of Cups came. Because, like, who doesn't want, in a love reading, self-love or otherwise, the 2 of Cups or the lovers? So you got the 2 of Cups, and look how whimsical. They have their little kitten and dog, and they're side by side, arms entwined, with the butterflies, the dragonflies, and the winged beings at their crowns. There's magic mushrooms there, and sitting upon a flower throne. Preceding this is the 2 of Wands, and the 2 of Wands usually talks about like setting a sight and ablaze your vision, like what are you calling into your life. The 2 of Wands reversed could feel like, you know, maybe you're a little bit confused about the future of love, about what you even are calling in love, because I see the need to walk away possibly maybe from a love which felt healing at one point, but you may be kind of questioning it now at this point. Or maybe there's just some residuals from a past lover situation that needs some tending to. And let me focus this on the self-love, because that is the theme of this reading. I feel like in that light, you know, the Two of Cups is about finding a healthy balance with your male, the Pingala in the yogic tradition, the solar, right side of the body, and your female, Ida, current, which is the lunar, left side of the body, and entwining those energies so that you are that balanced pillar, male, female, we're all androgynous spirits within, so that you are connected with that light of love that you are, and kind of the need to call in any fragmentation, retrieving maybe parts of your soul that feel a little bit lost. Maybe parts of your soul feel a little bit lost because of the past. And, you know, sometimes if we come through these challenging areas of life, part of our soul doesn't feel safe to stick around and experience that trauma or heartbreak. So those fragments of soul flee and kind of like get lost in the void, as it were. So this to me is telling me to call those parts back so that they can become, rather than your disempowerment and maybe the tendency to numb out, they can be like your greatest source of power. When we are fully realized and present in each and every moment. Because remember, the past is just a memory. It was the present, just like, it's just a vanished point of the present, which we can never retrieve, but we can always visit and reframe and storytell in a way. And then the future never comes because it's always now. So calling those parts of ourselves which may be wanting to leap into the future or be stuck in the past back present. Because it's really interesting. We see this Eight of Cups, which is the need to move on. Go across that rainbow bridge to a new direction, to where, you know, you're not entertaining any energies which are just rehashing that past trauma. Because anytime we think about how someone has hurt us or wounded us, and we keep like giving our energy to that, in a way we're like re-traumatizing ourselves every time we rehash that same story, that same narrative that keeps us feeling stuck and stagnant. Just a moment, I just need to plug in my little camera. I don't want my camera to die. Okay. Yeah, so really interesting, like needing to charge up the camera, needing to charge up one's life into the present moment. And I do see the need in some ways, and I think you're already getting, or it's coming soon, this clarity, because the Six of Swords is at the bottom of the deck, and almost like wanting to hold on with the Four of Pentacles, like hold on maybe to, even unconsciously, like sometimes we can be stuck in those loops of pain to where the Six of Swords reversed is like, you know, she's holding on to that bird, and when the Six of Swords is upright, she's letting it go. She's learning that her suffering is her bliss as she learns the lesson and relieves herself of like the suffering of holding on to that heartache. So it's just really learning to, anytime something enters your mind that is just serving that narrative that is disempowering or like really hurting you, to just create a new mantra for yourself. Like, you know, choosing a different pathway for yourself, and it could be anything. I choose love. I choose love. I choose love. I choose empowerment. Like whatever word really resonates with your soul to shake you out of that, just go back to that mantra when you notice your mind going to those dark and hidden places that aren't serving you. And yes, of course, we need to visit those wounds and really feel them kinesthetically, like through ourselves, so that trauma releases from our cellular memory. But at the same time, like rehashing it in our mind is just a machine. And when we keep like creating those neural pathways that just keep us in those loops, like it's not doing us any good. So remember the positive focus. Remember that love that you are, and the path will become more clear the more that you put one foot in front of the other and walk away from the toxicity, the heartbreak, those broken dreams. And really those dreams aren't broken. Those dreams, which was a cosmic redirection. Rejection is divine protection. So trust in the unfoldment of your journey. There are allies around you. There is luck and new love waiting and wanting to come in. But you have to give that to yourself first. I see that here with the bunny. And then there's a little butterfly leading his way. So this is about regeneration, metamorphosis. Visiting a body of water could be important here as well. Working maybe with medicinal plant allies could also be important. Let's see what else I see. And let yourself be slow. I see a slug here. So it's like you don't need to race into whatever new beginning that you're seeking or wanting, because I'm kind of seeing like now is just the time to reframe your vision. Like, what is that ideal life that you're dreaming for yourself that is filled with you first and foremost being your best friend, being your best ally? How can you make a pact with yourself to really be your own bestie right now? And with the Ace of Swords, I do see clarity coming. You're learning to use that sword of discernment and cut away and pull off those plants which just aren't meant to be in your garden anymore. Maybe it's like having some strong boundaries with maybe like a friend group you may have had to move away from or find some distance with, and sometimes that can feel really confusing while it's happening. But trust that making space by letting go of that is going to bring you even closer based on your vibrational frequency. I see a lot of healing and evolution emotionally here. As your vibrational frequency changes, those toxic energies or those energies which were aligned with like your past self, maybe from you acting from your wounds in the past, like those are naturally going to fall away. And sometimes it can be like our closest allies that we've had for years and years, but if the vibrational frequency just isn't there, just trust it, let it go with love, and you'll find that your new vibration will 100,000% attract your tribe and the people who are really meant to be part of your soul cloth at this point in your life. So this is practicing that element of detachment. There's this yogic, one of the first limbs of yoga, they're called the yamas, and one of them is called a parigraha, and this means non-hoarding or non-attachment. Detachment not only to worldly possessions because we don't leave anything in the world, you know, like we don't leave with anything, but it's like also finding healthy non-attachment and detachment with our feelings, with our thoughts, with the people in our life, like everything. So how can you practice a parigraha, that non-attachment, to where you can really follow those threads of the universe and those intuitive inklings which are bringing you closer to the new step on your journey? Because notice the Eight of Cups, and I love this, the 8 plus the 2 suits right in the beginning, right in the middle of your reading. Where is the 8 of Cups going? He's going to his 2 of Cups. He's going to really, or they're going to where those 2 of Cups are that have been there all along. But sometimes we get lost in those, like, the maze of life and all the lessons of our karmic ties or whatever. I see that he's done with that. He knows that there's a rainbow on the other end. He knows that, you know, a tribe that is dreaming of someone just like them is out there. But first we have to become our own tribe. We have to become our own ally. We have to, like, you know, belong to ourselves before we can ever belong to anywhere else. And I think that you're really drawing those truths to light at this time. Let's see what Ganesha has to say for you, pile number 2. Ganesha, remover of obstacles. What does pile number 2 need to know at this time? Okay, so we have surrender and we have drive. Drive, this is the Chariot card. So this is about, again, that second message of harnessing the polarities within of yin and yang, feminine and masculine. No matter how you identify, we all are androgynous and we hold those frequencies within, and when either one is imbalanced, if we have too much masculine or too much feminine, it's going to create ripples of imbalance in our life. So also this is kind of like the cosmic charioteer that is a master manifester in a way, and who like holds all the keys of the zodiac within the chariot and is able to travel in all realms and all dimensions astrally. So this is about also, remember how we were talking about that like soul retrieval and recalling those fragments of self. Maybe you want to do some shamanic journey work here and go visit those parts of yourself that maybe feel lost or confused. And you can ask Spirit for guidance about what times of your life maybe that soul loss happened, if you resonate with that message, of course. And then go back to that person, commune with them, call them back home. Even a good practice can be calling out your own name to the universe and really like remembering, retrieving that person that you are and that you have always been. And number 2 and drive is number 14. 4 plus 1 is about change. 2 is surrender, and this is again that cosmic unity. Surrendering to what is, surrendering to the changes or the sudden changes and the redirections in which the universe is granting you. And remember that you're not a victim. The universe is granting you this because it's bringing you everything you've wanted. So as long as you stay with that affirmation and that focus, especially of where you're headed next, journal it out, write down your perfect timeline of your life, revisit that every day in your meditations, keep that healthy focus. Because sometimes the universe will bring us exactly what we want by slowing off and having this sudden loss of things that we thought was the pathway to bring us what we want. But oftentimes it's going to come way different than we ever expected. So keep that trust, pile number 2. I believe in you. You're doing great. And remember to keep that clear focus in your mind, that clear direction in your actions, one foot in front of the other, as you walk away from those old energies and come to that unity within self, and that will ripple out in your mind, body, and physical fields. So pile number 2, I'm sending you so much love. I appreciate you being here, and I intend that this reading allowed you to retrieve exactly what you needed to hear. And if you feel so inclined, I would love if you would give me a like and subscribe for more tarot and metaphysical esoteric videos. Thank you so much, pile number 2, and I'm sending you lots and lots of heart light. I'll see you in the next video. My dears, pile number 3, it's time for your reading. So we have your crystal quartz here. If you're drawn to this pile, this reading is for you. So let's see pile number 3. Remember, this is a timeless general reading. Please take what resonates. Anytime you cross paths with this video, there may be a message in here for you. So we're asking Great Spirit, what does pile number 3 need to know in their highest paths of evolution, especially in self-love, the foundation from which all other relationships are built upon, Great Spirit? Wow. Oh my gosh. So I was just mentioning to the last pile how in a love reading, self-love or otherwise, who doesn't want to see the 2 of Cups or the Lovers? The past pile got the 2 of Cups, and you all got the Lovers. This is Gemini energy. Not only does it represent love with another, but it represents self-love and spiritual union and integration within self of that yang and yin energy. And when we have those imbalanced by practices like posture practice, yoga, asana practice, or pranayama practice, the breath work, or even meditative or hypnotic exercises, we can allow that energy, which is the central current known as the Sushumna channel, to flow up the spine so that we can have that self-realization at the crown chakra, at the third eye chakra. And this is the Pingala energy in the yogic tradition. This is the Ida. So when Ida and Pingala merge like that cosmic serpent, the coiled serpent or Shakti energy at the base of the spine, and it shoots up the spine through those yogic practices, then we have that self-realization of unity, of like unconditional love, and which is not contingent or dependent upon another person or like needing anything from anyone. It's like that inner fulfillment, that inner state of divine union. So I love that for you. Let's see what else comes through for you, pile number 3. Wow. Oh my goodness. I'm getting chills. Okay, this has been the most positive pile so far. Not to say that the other ones weren't beautiful and positive as well in their own ways. Let's see. Well, I do see a bit of a feeling of loss here. I do have to mention this first, but wow, do you have such beautiful and loving energies ahead of this once you pick your gaze up from looking at what has come to pass and look at those other 2 cups behind you, which are just waiting to be acknowledged. And this may be a time of you feeling like wanting to cocoon within and be in that hermit energy with your hood up and not wanting to look at anyone or be seen in class or in the workplace or wherever you inhabit. But it's kind of like, you know, just this dreary, I'm getting that word dreary, this dreary energy where maybe it's hard to see the beauty, hard to see the miracles, hard to see and feel the love that is around you 24/7, 365 days a year, like that love that creates and animates the fabric of the universe. It's hard to let that in right now, I see, or this may have been your energy that you're working through from the past. It is a card of loss. It is a card really of just needing to reframe the thoughts, because anywhere we focus on grows. We can focus on what has gone wrong. We can focus on the heartache and feeling like a victim and why did things not work out. But the minute that we see that once we be with that pain and truly release it, really feel it through our body, just learn those lessons, glean those treasures that it's giving us, we can pick up our gaze and step out of the cave and see all these new doorways, all these new opportunities, even people, places, or things that we never even acknowledged or recognized before because we were so caught up in that story of maybe feeling abandoned or rejected or whatever it was. Like, it is just astounding to me. Even at some points, I've lived in certain places where I was in this energy for like a whole summer, and like, I never saw the little miracles around me. And then the next year, I noticed that there was all this fruit growing and blooming in the backyard and all these flowers I have never noticed the year before. I didn't even know certain fruits grew on my land, like, in the year that I was in this energy. So it just shows that our focus is going to ripple out and totally dictate what we let in our lives. So I really love that you're putting this energy in the past. You see how he's turned away from the rest of the reading. I see your focus is just flourishing right now, pile number 3. I'm excited for what you're doing. Like, I don't know what it is, but it is just so much joy, so much solar energy here. It's almost like you can kind of start to see the sun peeking out. And the sun is one of the most benevolent energies in the universe. And in a lot of like ancient shamanic traditions, it does represent the soul essence. It represents our soul self and our vitality, our life force. And in some ways, it's like maybe you're learning to receive more love and even give your inner child that love that you've always needed. This is also a card that represents the past, like people coming back from the past life connections, soulmate connections, feeling like this sense of belonging and this sense of innocence and purity and that reciprocity that a child lives by, to where they don't withhold love, they don't withhold their energy, they just like express it, and it's just natural. So what I see happening and rippling out in your life, the more that you let go of those cups that have spilled, just trust that that was a cosmic way of the universe just directing and guiding you to your current path of so much success, so much recognition, so much just love. And you know, this is a self-love reading, so I want to make it focus on that, but I can't help but see that, you know, there's two partners here, both child and adult, and it's almost like coming into unity with your past, present, and future self, like calling to home those male and female aspects of your inner child, your inner teenager, and your current self. And knowing that as we give ourselves that love and partnership, companionship, belonging, that has no choice but to ripple out externally. And I see so much positive momentum and growth. This could not only indicate travel, but it could indicate, you know, recognition and like success, victory, strength, like really being recognized and noticed in your field, or in the ways in which you've given so much in the past as well to those that you care about, and kind of like celebrating, like take this time to really celebrate like how far you've come. Look at the drastic difference of these two energies. So this is like being there with your shadow self, and no doubt, like I even find this card really beautiful. Like I've been here so many times in my life where I just have my hood up, my scarf up, like don't want to look at anyone, don't want anyone to look at me. I want to be there in my little safe cocoon, and I want to just be there kind of like, what kind of energy, like just solo, like I just want to be solo. I don't want to fucking deal with anyone else. Sorry, I'm trying not to trying to keep the language clean here, but you know what I mean, like we just don't have time for anyone else's BS, and we just want to be here with our own energy where things feel a lot more clear. But in some ways, like we are tribal minded species, you know, we can't stay in this energy forever. We can't be a lone wolf forever. We can't be that lone leopard forever. Maybe it feels natural to us to, like, you know, be there with all the challenges of life, and to just like be there kind of with the rug swooped out from under us and at that rock bottom. But know that greater times are ahead, because once you're at that rock bottom, there's nowhere else to go but up. And you're finding your way, pile number 3, if you haven't already. Look at how different. He's open. His heart is open. He's waving that flag of victory, that flag of life force, and he's grounded here. And this one, it's like, you know, his root chakra is spilling out all over. Maybe you've had a lot of like loss and change in terms of your root chakra, which represents our stability, security, trust, and foundation. Maybe like home changes, car changes, friend group changes, family changes, you know, sudden loss or death. Could be anything. But call in that sacred red energy. That's the very first chakra. And if that is out of alignment, our foundation, how we connect with the earth, then every chakra above it, the life force can't flow freely. So I love that, because it shows the red outside of himself there. He feels disempowered. And now look, the red, he's wearing it. It's there where it belongs, because the root chakra extends all the way below the knees up to the pelvis. And you're on fire now with you're learning how to be on fire with your purpose and with really why you came here. And so much of our purpose, you know, it isn't just like, oh, what is my purpose, universe? Like something outside of myself. Tell me what my purpose is. No, our purpose is what we make it to be. There's this work by Frankl, this author Frankl, and he talked about how people who went through very dire circumstances, I believe in the Holocaust, when they created a meaning and imprinted a meaning or a purpose upon their life, even in those dire circumstances, like they were able to survive and succeed in so many beautiful myriad of ways. And so what does that say about us and the way in which we live our life? We need to create for ourselves that purpose, you know? And then when we have that purpose, we're not dwelling so much. We have that focus and that drive for our direction. And it can start to color all of our experiences in a much more positive light. Too, the horse is such a mystical, historical animal. In a Native American tradition, the horse represents the medicine wheel. And the medicine wheel is almost like this ally, this like archetypal ally, to where all the directions, all the spirits of the directions can be regarded as with reverence and as a conscious spirit to assist us and guide us on our path. So maybe if you're not familiar with the medicine wheel, look up the medicine wheel and how all the different directions are akin to a different element, and also oftentimes animal. And we can call upon those elements and those animals, and based on, you know, where we fall within the medicine wheel, or even where we fall seasonally in the medicine wheel, like we can backtrack to the direction before. If we feel stuck in one area, revisit the direction right before and do some work there, and then you'll find that you're able to kind of continue on that spiral journey. And the horse too represents power. It represents faith. It's also reminding me of the wind horse in the Tibetan tradition, that the wind horse is called Lungta, and the wind horse is about riding a wave of basic goodness in our life. And it's said that when Lungta, or wind horse, is high, that we experience prosperity. Like everything that this card represents, we experience prosperity, good fortune, success, good health. Our chi is flowing, our prana is abundant. And then when we have low wind horse, it represents this. It represents the sense of failure. It represents like misfortune and low mood, low energy, etc. So the message that's coming through here for you is to continue in that positive momentum of the wind horse. And the wind horse is traditionally seen on the Tibetan prayer flags. And whenever the flags wave in the wind, it's said that that wind horse is constantly being like enlivened within oneself and within one's life. And I love it. At the bottom of the deck we have the Queen of Swords, and this is like that queen of discernment who really knows how to use her sword in a positive way. And I truly see that, wow, you're just getting so much clarity here. You remember who you are. You're no longer identifying with that small self, with the little me story that keeps us like trapped and in bondage by, you know, the deeds or misfortune from which maybe we have even self-perpetuated in the past, but that we don't have to identify with that. We don't have to identify with any old versions. We literally came here to mess up and to grow. So I see that you're just letting those sorrows, that bird is flowing away out of your mind, which represents the mental process, and you're coming to realization, self-realization again with that sun, that solar energy. There's butterflies there on her robe, and she's using her words, her thoughts as her spells, because that does end up coming. Everything we put out, whether it's the physical energy, the actions we take, our thoughts 100%. Like people can feel our thoughts. Our thoughts, our emotions all have a vibrational resonance. And so that's why it's so important to stay in integrity. And this is what this queen has really learned, because every way in which we misuse our thoughts, people can feel that, especially really attuned psychic people. So it's really important to practice. In the yogic tradition, it's called brahmacharya, which is correct use of one's vital life force energy. And only send those thoughts which are conducive to what you're growing and intending. So I intend pile number 3 that you got some snippets of wisdom out of this reading, I'm really called to use, I just found this deck. It was hidden for me for the longest time, and it was in like a box of a different deck because it doesn't have its own box. But it's like a poetic oracle deck, and I love this one because the messages, like, you literally can't grasp them with your conscious mind, with your intellect, which only makes up 5% of the whole mind. The other 95% of mind is subconscious, which are those imaginative realms of feeling and of intuition and of, like, you know, poetry and storytelling, and like getting out of that more analytical aspect of mind and into the more receptive, intuitive, deep waters that also house that super consciousness, which is that direct link to the Great Spirit, to your divinity. So let's see what this deck has to say for pile number 3. Please, Great Spirit, to assist them on their path of highest evolution in self-love. I love this pile number 3. I'm so filled with, like, I feel just so filled with vitality and energy and like a luster and vigor for life. So that is so beautiful. We're just asking for 1 card, please, Great Spirit. 1 card for pile number 3. This pile number 3 needs to know. Let's see. Okay, here we have Arcturus in Botus, Summer, the Ancient Mask, number 13. It says, open up to the most beautiful experience in the world. Your eyes have been lit on fire. Wow. Wow, because remember we were talking so much about that solar energy, the sun energy, the fire. And it's interesting as well to me because the eyes in Ayurveda represent like digestion. Because not only do we digest whatever we consume internally through our mouth, but we have to digest what we consume internally through our eyes, through social media, through anything we scroll through, you know, all our experiences. And that's why things like fire rituals right upon waking and right before sleeping can be so powerful to bring the energy back to neutral and to really assist that assimilation of all that we've taken in. Is just simple candle gazing. There is a yogic term for this, but I forget the Sanskrit term, but it's basically lighting a candle at about eye level. I'll usually like kneel at my altar, gaze at the candle. You can even do candle magic along with this and use a specific color, maybe make some carvings in the candle for what you're drawing in, dressing the candle with like oils or herbs, to just further ritualize this experience of intention, of being the master creator, the dreamer of your dream, really claiming that seat of being the star of your life, and opening up to the most beautiful experience in the world, the ancient mask. Well, interesting, the mask to me kind of like represents the ego in a way, like the masks that we wear in our lives, and how taking off that mask can allow us to just be vulnerable so that we can actually start emitting that frequency of our true authentic self, and thus really being that perfect match for other resonant soul tribe frequencies to come into our life. So I think that's like a confirmation of just letting go of this mask of like feeling small, feeling disempowered, feeling not good enough, feeling unworthy. You're so worthy, you're so powerful, and I truly see your life going in that positive momentum. So with that, pile number 3, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you so much, and it is my greatest joy to be your oracle today. And if you got anything out of this reading, I would so appreciate support by liking and subscribing if you'd love to see more tarot, metaphysical, and occult videos from me. And I'm sending you so much heart light, my dear pile number 3s, and I'll see you in the next video. Be well.